Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Aquarius relationships, part 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is, well, many of you, or some of you anyway, may have remembered when I did the first series on the zodiac signs and relationships, and that was more about specific relationships for the 12 zodiac signs based on probable house cusp positions based on the solar or natal chart for those signs. Now, this is more general and generic and just generally how the zodiac signs may act in relationships. So anyway, people, first thing up, as far as Aquarius relationships part 2 goes, well, Aquarius, of course, can be very unusual and they could be very paradoxical as well. If you're in a situation with an Aquarian and their significant other, understand as far as their spending habits go can be very enigmatic, and they could be the type to be very extravagant as far as large items go, but they may be more frugal with smaller items. There may not be consistency. In other words, they may not spend proportionately with items like many other people may. And I mean, with most people, they may either be extravagant with things in general or frugal with things in general, but Aquarius can be a little bit unpredictable in the spending department. Now, Aquarius as well, in their relationships, they could show a lot of selflessness, and they can really give a lot of their time in relationships and are natural humanitarians. Now, they generally may not expect much in return as far as reciprocation goes, but just the friendship from others, and ingenuous friendship. What I mean is just real, genuine friendship, and not, the phony, superficial types. So, I mean, Aquarius may not be as good at detecting superficiality or subterfuge like Scorpio can, but Aquarius is arguably, at least I believe overall, they are the most cerebral of signs, so they will figure it out if somebody, at some point, if somebody is trying to pull the wool over their eyes, so to speak, and they're giving you this superficial fake friendliness. So the thing about what people have to understand about Aquarius, if they're strongly connected with them, is that they could be very detached and aloof. And this, of course, may agitate or exasperate, annoy deeper signs, say like Scorpio or the zodiac sign Cancer, and it may hurt those people a little bit. But what people have to understand about Aquarius is just how they are in general. They often are more about like a friendship, and even if, like, say, if you're in this deep connection with Aquarius and their significant other, a romantic partner, what have you, they often will still be somewhat detached, and they often you might even see them more, they might perceive you more as a friend than a lover, perhaps, in a lot of instances. And remember, Aquarius, I mean, they often can be involved, say, in there might be something unusual about the relationship situation that they're in with others. I have a friend of mine, and she is married to somebody that has the sun in Aquarius, and their connection is somewhat detached. She had told me, my understanding is that he's not home a lot. She has a home where she stays in where he's not even there that frequently, and it really doesn't surprise me, because the Aquarius energy in relationships, they often could be somewhat sporadic and erratic, and there can be somewhat unusual about a connection if you are involved with Aquarius in terms of a romantic relationship, and if it's a significant other, or just an intimate relationship in general. The thing about Aquarius, the main thing that may be predictable about them is that they're unpredictable. I mean, and don't get me wrong, most Aquarians aren't going to do anything like real super bizarre, unorthodox, like riding around a unicycle with a board on the head, or going doing bungee cord jumping, with being scantily clad or something. But I mean, Aquarians, they really, you have to understand that they do like to have things very spontaneous, extemporaneous, very unpredictable. I was with it was a friend of mine that had he has Aquarius Ascendant, and one time he drove, I was going for a ride with him, I guess it was to a grocery store or something, and instead of taking the conventional route, going through the parking lot to enter, or the driveway, whatever, to enter the parking lot to the shopping complex or center or whatever it was, he actually drove straight up the grass hill, and it surprised the heck out of me. I mean, I should have been super flabbergasted, or really been much in a state of shock, because given the fact that he has an Aquarius Ascendant, but still, it was very surprising. But I mean, with Aquarius, you don't want to, I mean, you're never going to really be too surprised if you understand somebody, if you know that they have Aquarius prominent in their chart, say Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Aquarius. It won't surprise you nearly as much as if you didn't really know that or understood astrology. But anyway, then I had another experience with another Aquarius rising person. One time I had answered the phone, and I got a prank call from somebody, and he didn't say anything. I was suspicious it may have been him, the Aquarius rising friend. So you could say I blew the whistle on him, so to speak. I grabbed a whistle and I blew it into the phone, into the earpiece, and or whatever, the mouthpiece, which would be his earpiece, I guess, on his end, and he promptly hung up. But then he called me back, and then he cursed me out real fast and hung up quickly before I could respond. So I guess he got mad for me blowing the whistle on him. But the thing about it is that Aquarians can often have this real erratic and really zany, unpredictable behavior, and I can't emphasize that enough. So it's something you got to understand if you get involved with an Aquarius, say Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. Now, I mean, you may actually call Aquarius bizarre, weird, or eccentric, and they may give you an unpredictable, unanticipated response like, thank you. But, the thing about Aquarius, too, you have to understand is that what I refer to them anyway is often having the universal friend syndrome. Now, if you're connected strongly with an Aquarius, that connection may not be as strong as you may presume it to be, because Aquarius often will still like to have their friends, and even if they're married to somebody and they have that significant other, they often will stay in contact with many of their friends. And if you're like a real jealous type, say if you're a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or a Cancer, even Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, there can be some complications and difficulties with this connection, and for that reason. Now, the thing about, and really they are often very, I mean, Aquarius is really often very amiable and amicable, and they can make friends very easily, but they often are very difficult to get close to. I can remember my grandmother had told me something about actor Richard Dean Anderson. Many of you may remember him from the original MacGyver series. And he has his son in Aquarius, and she had told me that he was actually, from what she read, a very difficult person to understand. He also has Gemini rising, so go figure. And those two signs may be arguably the two signs that have really the most difficulty in actually maintaining and having a deep connection with others. So anyway, and the thing about Aquarius too, is that, I mean, and really the thing about it is if you have a friendship with Aquarius, it could be difficult to hang out with them consistently because of their sporadic and erratic energy, coupled with the fact the universal friend syndrome, as I described before, and that they want to, I mean, they might have so many acquaintances and friends that they're trying to disperse the time evenly with all of them, and you might not really see them as much as you would like to. I had a friend in school that had he has a son in Aquarius, and he, I mean, and I considered him at the time one of my best friends ever, because he was just so loyal and steadfast, and he would stand up for me when many other people wouldn't. But I mean, it was just hard to really see him really and hang out with him that consistently because he just had so many friends and was very popular. No shocker there being an Aquarius. Now, um, another thing about Aquarius too is that if you're connected with an Aquarius, they often can be very proficient, like in computers or electronics, radio controlled items, computer information technology. You need electrical work done in your home, they might be able to help you out with it. They could be very knowledgeable about those things. They're often up to date on new technology and innovations that are coming out because they are about new ideas and concepts, and they often can recommend the newest product for you in terms of whatever it is you're going to get. Say if you want to buy a new TV, they may often know the newest model that has come out with the best advanced, sophisticated features. So things like that, Aquarius could be very beneficial to and very knowledgeable about things. And Aquarius, given their ingenious nature, they often can help you formulate new ideas that can be advantageous to you, whether it would be something of a monetary nature, it could be a writing, it just depends on whatever interests you may have. They could often give you some new ideas that are in conjunction with whatever field or whatever interest, I should say, you may have. Now, the thing about Aquarius too, which you have to understand, it's imperative, is that keep in mind, I mean, an Aquarius in a solar natal chart, they will often have Capricorn on the 12th house cusp, and there's a reason for this. They are, I mean, you know, the 12th house cusp can represent our fears, limitations, and restrictions. And Capricorn energy, of course, very consistent, can be very regimented. Aquarius can very much disdain anything regimented, anything overly consistent and predictable. And they will like, I mean, they are, the thing that can drive Aquarius away is just simple over consistency, so to speak, and monotony. They could really dread this. And they want to, I mean, if you want to maintain a friendship with Aquarius, you really almost have to be interested in doing new things very consistently. And I mean, Aquarius, again, is very paradoxical. Understand that they are a sign, I mean, they are very, much into, I mean, the future. They're very progressive, but they are also, I mean, they are very fixed in their idea and in their belief systems. They are all often open to new ideas and concepts. They're very futuristic. They're open to new ideas, being progressive that they are, but they could be very set in their ways, and that's what makes them a little bit complicated, and it's difficult really understanding their energy as far as Aquarius goes. And the thing about Aquarius too, I mean, is that it's interesting with Aquarius. We will often, I think, accept behavior from Aquarius that we may not accept from others if we're connected with them. I think, I mean, I think what it is that we, especially people that understand astrology, they understand the zodiac sign Aquarius, that a lot of times it's just them being them. It's that we understand it's not malicious. You take NBA head coach Greg Popovich, for example. He has his sun sign in Aquarius, and his moon is either in Capricorn or Aquarius, depending on birth time. Now, many of you that follow the NBA, follow pro basketball, understand Greg Popovich can come off as a little bit abrupt, a little acerbic or abrasive even at times. But they call that, I mean, just Greg Popovich being Greg Popovich, that it's generally not malicious, I don't think, with him. I think it's just his nature in general. I've heard he's really actually a very nice person, actually has a really good disposition overall. But we just seem to accept those certain things from Aquarius that we may not accept from others, and I think a lot of it just has to do with understanding. We know what they're about, and it's generally, like I said, it's generally not malicious, or they're not really being belligerent or what have you. Now, The thing about Aquarius too is that what you have to understand is that what's good if you're in a relationship with them or even a close friendship with Aquarius, that they are often very, in terms of could be very good communicators, a very good literary ability, be very perspicacious and readily understood. You generally won't have to worry about them saying something ambiguous or something being misconstrued. You often will understand them very readily when you do speak to them. Now, former United States President Barack Obama has very good powers of communication, I believe very articulate, and he has an Aquarius ascendant. Also, his Gemini moon, I think, could play a role in his speaking prowess and ability. And the thing about it is, and going back again, I mean, to not be overly surprised if your Aquarius friend or lover does something unpredictable. I can remember Aquarius friend with the Aquarius ascendant friend. One time I remember him, he did something to some, tissues or something, and I remember him throwing it at a home, and he somehow made the tissues stick to that person's house somehow. And really, I mean, those are just kind of like the things that Aquarius might do. They'll do something very unorthodox, very unusual, and a lot of things you may see them do, you may not have ever seen other people do. It can be like, a lot of times you'll say after somebody does something very startling, oh, now I've seen everything. Well, that's kind of like your reaction to Aquarius behavior. You may be saying that a lot more than one time. So, and interesting too, best of my knowledge now, many of you may have remembered the NBA player, former NBA player Dennis Rodman, and really known for a lot of his outlandish, bizarre behavior on the court and very unpredictable. Now, he doesn't have an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant, but his likely his ascendant, his progressed ascendant was in Aquarius for a number of those years when he played in the NBA. Now he has a Capricorn ascendant, but likely the Aquarius, the progressed ascendant likely was in Aquarius for a number of those years in the NBA, I believe. And I think a lot of it was attributed to that. And anyway, and really the point is, well, how does this pertain to relationships? Well, as far as him being a teammate, now he was a great player, a relentless rebounder for the team, but whatever team he was on, but when he acted like that, obviously it could throw the team a little off kilter, although I think people were getting accustomed to being predictable about being unpredictable, so to speak. So, and another thing too is that, I mean, Aquarius can be the quintessential friend. And the thing about it is, though, although others may really get annoyed at their idiosyncratic behavior at times, and I mean, the thing about Aquarius too is that they are very future oriented. And if they're connected with, say, a sign, say Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer or Taurus, well, the difficulties can arise given the fact that Aquarius being so future-oriented and progressive, Cancer often dwells in the past, and Taurus can hold on to grudges for a protracted period, and so can Scorpio, being Scorpio, given that I think they're the most vengeful and vindictive sign of the zodiac. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Aquarius Relationships Part 2. Stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about Pisces Relationships Part 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.